I think I broke Google with this video. I searched for so many different subjects that they don't know how to advertise to me anymore. Welcome to my paranormal wish list. So let's see what questions we have only on paranormal, true or false. It is free to subscribe. Please subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Thank you. For this video, we're going to focus on what we leave behind when we die. Is it our soul? Or is it a new normal of existence as a ghost or a spirit? These entities are described in many ways. Some are just invisible presence that is felt. Others are transparent figures, mist, light, or wisp. And some look like fully formed beings. Some ghosts move objects and make noise, which are referred to as poltergeist. Other ghosts appear as tortured souls, but many are depicted as peaceful, helpful, and angelic. There are many religious and cultural beliefs to explain why they exist. The reality is, no one knows why they exist, why only some people can see them or experience them, and only some people believe in their existence. Even though this subject has been documented through cultural beliefs for millennia, we still don't have answers. Everything we've heard about this subject is pure theory. And this begins my wish list. I wish more scientists would get involved in this field of study. I wish that we had more answers. I wish that we had easier access or more access to these spirits so we could learn from them. So how can we believe in something when there's no conclusive facts of its existence? But isn't that true for religion as well? Do we have any conclusive facts of any God existing? But I also think that that alone shows why some people believe and some people don't. People that have religious beliefs or believe in a God that they can't see probably are much more open-minded to the paranormal than the people who don't believe in an existence of any gods. I wish we could move this entire subject of the paranormal into conclusive fact. At one time, people believed the earth was flat, and there's still some idiots that believe the earth is flat. But we have proven through scientific fact that the earth is round. So can we get the subject of paranormal into scientific fact? I think it's possible, but it would take a collective effort to make it happen. So what is paranormal? Well, para means around or beyond, and normal is completely subjective. Right off the bat, we know we do not have a right or wrong answer. Many religions and cultures have varying beliefs. And of course, the fictional arts will exploit those beliefs, twist those beliefs, and subjugate those beliefs. And neither use science to understand the paranormal. I really wish every paranormal investigator and every television show would walk into a space that is claimed to be haunted, and instead of trying to prove the haunting, prove what it's not. Prove that it's not a pipe that's vibrating. Prove that it's not a air conditioning vent that's turning on and off. Prove all the other knowns, and what's left could be paranormal. So if we could get every paranormal investigator to document the knowns, we could develop scientific patterns. I wish investigators and believers would not focus on the witching hour or the devil's hour. We should instead document nature's time. These spirits are dead people. They are no longer punching into a time clock. So if you're focusing on midnight or 3 a.m., then I'm already questioning your investigational experiences because you're not being scientific about this. Once people are dead, they revert back to nature's time, which is dawn, dusk, nocturnal, diurnal, and the twilights. Investigations should be 24 hours a day, not a few hours at night. If every investigator documented what time of day activity is occurring, we could learn for a specific location that activity is predominantly diurnal or nocturnal. Like a hotel may be nocturnal, but a factory may be diurnal. What about the seasons? Every location should be investigated in all seasons. Right now, we don't know if there's more activity in winter versus summer. Does equinox or solstice make a difference? I really wish geologists would get involved in this field. I really wish paranormal investigators would share geological studies with other paranormal investigators who are going to investigate at that same location. Are investigators learning about and documenting the geology or the environment of a location? Are there quartz? Are there limestone? Is there any other type of rock or stone or surface or clay that makes a difference in the paranormal? I really wish paranormal investigators could share with other paranormal investigators if there's anything underground, such as water lines or sewage pipes. If they are, how large are they? How many gallons or liters are pushed through those pipes? What pushes the water or the sewage through those pipes? Is it gravity or is there a pump? And how close is that pump to the property you're investigating? Could larger pipes that push more content through them cause more vibration on the surface? Could that vibration be what's moving objects? What about airplanes and trains? Is there a flight path going over that home that causes vibration? Are there railroad tracks near that property to cause vibrations? Could these things cause not just vibrations and objects to move, but also create a sensation of uneasiness for the humans? Could they also be creating some type of a hum or a resonance that impacts human beings and causes them to feel uneasy? I wish every paranormal investigation documented these things so that we can rule out what is not paranormal at every location.
Remember, kids, the only difference between screwing around and science is writing it down.
I wish climatologists and astronomers and meteorologists were involved in this field. Is the temperature, humidity, barometric pressure, weather patterns, lunar phases documented? Are there any types of activities connected to those things? We have plenty of theories regarding a full moon, and it has been a proven fact that full moons do cause emergency rooms to fill up. What about lightning storms that ionize the air? Does that really create or reveal the paranormal? Or is that just a theory? Each one of these things can be documented, and then as they're documented, we can create scientific patterns. Do we even know if temperatures of extreme hots or extreme cold impact spirits in any way? We know among the living that extreme hot and extreme cold can change our behavior and our activities. Is the same true for spirits? Are we seeing any type of paranormal activity when the temperature is below 0 Fahrenheit or above 100 degrees Fahrenheit? What about high tide and low tide? Does that impact spirits? Human beings used to travel the Earth via planetary alignment. Does those planetary alignments impact spirits? Do any of these things play a factor in paranormal activity? I wish biologists were involved in this field. I wish chemists were involved in this field. I wish medical doctors were involved in this field. Couldn't those specialists help us learn if hormones are a factor? There are theories about the paranormal involving hormones and puberty. Is the witness or investigator a woman who was ovulating, menstruating, pregnant, absent of a menstrual cycle, or in menopause, or on hormone replacement medications? Is the witness a man with a higher testosterone level or lower testosterone level, or is he on hormone replacement medications? Are we more prone to experiencing paranormal activity when our own bodies are having hormonal fluctuations? I wish this was documented so we would know if there is any influence between paranormal and hormones. I wish that medications were documented so we could see if there's any correlation between these chemicals and paranormal activity. Are investigators speaking with pharmacists about what combination of drugs could cause hallucination, skin crawling, paranoia, anxiety, hormonal imbalances, chemical imbalances, or increases or decreases in adrenaline? And we do know some drugs, legal and illegal, do cause all of these issues. I wish that paranormal investigators would document the known animals and birds and reptiles, and fish for that matter, in an area. Are they studying the animals and birds in an area to know what sounds they would make before they go into an investigation? Listen to these sounds these animals make.
Show Bill.
I wish certain things about human psychology was documented about the people involved in an investigation, whether it's the witnesses or the investigators. And maybe some investigators do document this stuff, but I wish all did. Has the witness had traumatic experiences, been diagnosed with any type of chronic condition or mental condition? Did the witness lose anyone when they were young? Did the witness lose anyone recently? What about the investigators? Are these questions documented for every case? And do they impact paranormal activity? I wish all sociological factors were documented. Does age, weight, education, income, employment, religion, region, culture play a factor? Yes, it does. Could scientific trends be identified with documenting the demographics of not only the witnesses of the paranormal, but the investigators? I wish we knew if the location on Earth mattered, not just the populace, but the distance from the equator or from the poles. Will we see more paranormal activity the closer we are to the balance of the Earth, or further from the balance point of the Earth? Or does it even matter? Is it going to be just where the population is and have nothing to do with the equator, with the Arctic circles, with the tropics? What about the construction within a building? Theories exist when the living renovate a building, more activity exists. But isn't it just as possible that the renovations are opening up and exposing the living to toxic materials such as lead paint, lead pipes, asbestos, gas leaks, mold, and any combination of airborne particles that become toxic once combined in the air. I wish every investigator would test the soil at an investigation location. I wish every investigator would have sound equipment that could help them identify the sounds that the animals in the area are making. I wish every investigator would test the water, not just the water going into a building, but if there's a lake, a creek, a pond, a river near the location, would they also test that? And I wish they would test the air quality, not only within the building, but around the building. I wish every investigator would test for lead paint and lead pipes and see if there's any type of toxins involving lead at every location they investigate. Is it polluted in such a way that it is causing sensations or hallucinations? Why not have an electrician check the electricity? Why not have a plumber check the pipes? Why not check for carbon monoxide and have the gas lines checked? All of these things are the known that can be easily proven, easily documented, leaving the spirits as the only variable. I wish there was a database that every single paranormal investigator could download all of this information into that database for all paranormal investigators to have access to. So I wish there was a database that someone would create. A database where we can actually look at, for example, Waverly Hills Sanitarium. Since there's so many investigations happening at that one location year round and 24/7, could we start to develop analytical trends that would help us understand the paranormal better? Could it help us isolate when we would need to look for paranormal activity at a specific location? I'm working on and hope to have finished before this video is released a paranormal investigator checklist. I'm going to try and create a standardized form that every paranormal investigator can use, which could also enable somebody who is able to create a database, take all of these, input them into that database so that a paranormal investigator can just click through those, and then we can start collecting standardized information. It will be a multiple part checklist. Like the first section will be on the location, the next section will be on the witnesses and investigators, and then the final part is what activity has been captured. I would love your input on this. I'm going to put this on my Facebook page. You can leave comments on that or in this video, or anything else you suggest or recommend. So with this type of standardized documentation and a shared database, maybe, just maybe, at a specific location, we might learn the best time to catch paranormal activity is diurnal, when the temperature is between 50 degrees and 90 degrees Fahrenheit, during the spring, at the equinox, when the tide is low, during a full moon, when a man's testosterone is low and a woman is menstruating, but before the bears come out of hibernation near the Arctic Circle and where there's a lightning storm. Because right now, everything is so random that we don't know when to investigate, and sometimes we don't even know where to investigate. What about what equipment should be used? My wish list is for all of the scientists to bring their tools, their equipment, their knowledge into the field of paranormal. I wish for them to help us understand the paranormal better. In the meantime, I wish that paranormal investigators would start with air quality tests. Start with the basic handheld version, or then invest in a larger more advanced one. Use a water testing kit. Use lead testing kits. Use soil testing kits. Find apps that can help you identify birds or animal sounds. Use sound equipment that has the ability to analyze noise, whether it's a level meter that can analyze octaves or whether it's just measuring decibels and hertz. Equipment that can analyze frequency and impulse and surface vibrations caused by sound waves. Look for that low frequency hum that can make human beings uncomfortable, like this. I wish every single paranormal investigator could have a night vision camera, a full spectrum camera, a thermal camera, and a UV camera. I wish every single paranormal investigator would limit the use of an EMF detector or a K2 meter to just looking at the space in general and what its magnetic field is. Use it for the wiring, not for if you're communicating with a spirit. Electricity, magnetic fields, they move around and bounce around so much that if you're relying on that to tell you if there's a ghost in front of you, it could cause you to receive a false positive. I wish every paranormal investigation would include ambient temperature measurements, as well as if you're using trigger items, using a surface thermometer to document fluctuations in temperature on a trigger object. Using an ambient thermometer can help you with baseline readings and give you an idea of, from the entire investigation, how much a room can fluctuate in temperature. You don't want to use an ambient thermometer on a trigger item. You would use a surface thermometer on a trigger item. I wish that paranormal investigators would document if they're using any type of motion sensors and what was the results of using those types of sensors. An ultrasonic sensor might be better in one location, whereas an infrared sensor might be better at a different location. Unfortunately, right now, I don't think there's enough documentation on this to know which is better for the paranormal. It would detect if an object is moving, but it's hard to say if either one of these type of sensors would actually catch a spirit moving through the space. I wish every location could support using a laser grid with a stationary camera, but I don't know how useful this object is in an open field. However, if it's used in a space where it does accommodate revealing if anything has crossed through that grid and is blocking those lights, it is a useful tool. I wish that for every single paranormal investigator, before they use any type of vibration equipment, they do some vibration testing before using any of these type of sensors or objects. If you're not walking on a concrete slab, but you're walking on some type of flooring where the joists run in such a way that you can be at the other end of the room and it'll cause vibration on the opposite side of the house. Sit down on the floor and put your hands on the floor and have someone else walk around the entire building on that same floor and see if you feel any vibration of them walking, stomping, running, or jumping. If you can't detect any type of vibration, then it's safe to use some of these vibration sensors. However, if you do feel vibration just with your hands and your butt, then that means that these vibration tools would not be a good idea at that location. I wish every single voice recorder did a better job of recording noises or sounds that are either below human register or higher than human register. The SLS camera was originally designed for the gaming community in order to create gaming graphics, but the industry quit using them because they considered them to be glitchy, in which it would capture things that weren't there. I wish we knew if we could trust what we're picking up with the SLS. Right now, I don't know if it's a tool that is actually capturing paranormal or if it's just glitchy. I wish investigators would put the REM pod in a Faraday cage. Sometimes I think that these things are so sensitive that they're picking up dust particles or possibly a small bug like an OCM. I've always wondered if you could experiment with the Alice box as well as the Ghost box by putting them into some type of a soundproof box. Put a recorder in with it and see if that would make a difference as to the quality of the information you're getting as well as the quantity of information you're getting. I wish human beings were nowhere near Ouija boards. For me, the only way I would trust a Ouija board is if it was set in an area where there was no vibrations, no vents blowing on it, no human interference or presence. Then ask it questions via a radio that you've left in the room, but the sound waves from the radio won't move the planchette. Then, if something happens, I'll believe it's paranormal. But as long as you don't have all those factors together, I'm never going to believe anything that comes with a Ouija board. I wish I understood dowsing rods better. I do believe that there is something to dowsing rods. Dowsing rods have been used to find water underground for people to dig a well. So dowsing rods have something to them. I don't know for sure what it is. So I can't rule out dowsing rods, but I would like to see them set into some type of a mechanical contraption and just rolled around so no human contact was involved if we're going to try and use them for paranormal activity. I'm sure throughout the world that other pieces of equipment are used to try and capture spirits. I wish I knew every piece of equipment that was available to the paranormal community. However, I only want the type of equipment or test that can be done that can avoid any type of human interference or manipulation in the results. And I'm not sure equipment or test even exist with that parameter. And I wish there was so that we would have concrete proof that ghosts really do exist. My favorite evidence is the evidence where there's no human beings around it whatsoever and it just happens. Because to me, as long as there's human beings around that activity, I'm always going to think, yeah, you're selling me a used car. I wish that every single paranormal investigator would not only look and do research on who recently died or who died in the location, but also continued that research to find out geological studies in the area, train tracks, water lines, sewage lines. Find out what else is in your environment, including speak with the local environmental protection agencies. Find out where the nearest hazardous waste material dump sites are at, and then see if the location that you're working at is downwind or upwind of those hazardous dump sites, as well as whatever might be upstream or downstream or any water sources that might carry toxins through the property that you're investigating or near the property you're investigating. Don't just test the water inside the building, test the water that might be near the building you're investigating. If we want people to take us serious for believing in the paranormal, then I wish we would get more serious and more scientific. Because right now,
Remember, kids, the only difference between screwing around and science is writing it down.
I really wish every paranormal investigator would take this advice. Once you are done with all the tests, all the research, all the invasive questions you need to ask witnesses and yourself, then begin a paranormal investigation. At that point, you have an idea of what sounds may be normal, what the quality of air, water, soil is, so you are not subject to any toxins that are affecting your judgment. One of the reliable sources that I tend to use is the National Library of Medicine, which is part of the National Institute of Health. It is a U.S. government agency. I've attached the website to this picture so that you can go into this link and read this full article for yourself. But I am going to read a couple of things that I thought was interesting. The first is their definition. The term paranormal typically refers to phenomena such as psychokinesis, hauntings, and clairvoyance, which contradicts the basic limiting principles of current scientific understanding. So, right off the bat, we have a government agency that recognizes current scientific understanding is limited. But they are also acknowledging that a lot of the tests that are trying to determine our own belief systems and how come some believe in the paranormal and some don't, it continues to have flaws. The most consistent associations emerge for paranormal beliefs with increased intuitive thinking and confirmatory bias, and reduced conditional reasoning ability and perception of randomness. I personally want to rule out as much of the subjectivity of the paranormal and get to the objectivity of fact. Even though this channel debunks most paranormal clips, I really do believe in the paranormal. I just don't want to be conned into believing something is real when it has been faked. I also don't want you to be conned into believing something is real when it is faked. Some of the biggest paranormal YouTube channels started out doing something different, but got good views from one paranormal video and they changed their content to paranormal and have been selling you on a boatload of lies ever since. Others are just jumping on bandwagons and have been faking paranormal activity since their first video. But we also have to control our own beliefs and make sure there is not some other natural cause before we reach any conclusion. For example, there are many different television shows and YouTubers that have gone to Waverly Hills Sanitarium, and they have professed it to be haunted and shown us video or audio clips to convince us that it is haunted. And I believe them. But then I realize I haven't been there. Could it be more hype than haunt? Am I allowing myself to be manipulated into believing something? Yes, I am. Should I allow it? Probably not. I will say that I do have a friend who has gone to Waverly, and the way she described it, she didn't talk about specifics, but she just discussed a lot of very uneasy feelings when she was in the building, and she confirmed that there's something there. She just couldn't put a finger on what it was. or verbally put words to what she experienced. Well, this is my wish list for the paranormal community and for paranormal activity. I just wish for truth and fact and understanding and a further development of this field of study. What is your wish list for the paranormal? You will find links to social media platforms for this channel as well as for Jim Riley in the description below. Be safe and don't investigate alone. If you appreciate this type of analytical analysis, please subscribe. And remember, question everything. Thanks for watching Paranormal, True or False.